What's up, everyone? The most recent international championships just concluded in Melbourne, Australia, leaving us with 8 players in the top 8 of an international championship, and Azul Garcia taking the title with his Lost Zone box deck in this Crown Zenith format. Now, there's only a couple more tournaments left in this format, but these decks are pretty much the placeholder where you want to be in the format. So if you're learning, looking to get into competitive, these are the decks to beat. So we're going to go through the top 8 decks, show you guys what my thoughts are on these, what the metagame looks like heading into the remaining tournaments of this format. The format will rotate on April 14th. You can check out my rotation video, see what decks last, what cards are good around to be still, and what, to look forward to. But until then, let's jump in. And if you guys enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. In first place, we had Azul Garcia playing his Lost Zone box deck. Important to note, there was no Kyogre in the build this time around, giving them no actual endgame condition, but focusing on the Snorlax and the Zeraora with 2 choice belts to deal heavy damage to Lugia and other attackers. The Snorlax plus choice belt deals with Stoutland. Drapion V as well as Dragonite V plus the Sky Seal Stone were the combination pieces to take out big 2 or 3 prizers and take an extra prize, giving them, a way to race decks like Lugia. If you take out a Lugia V-Star with the Dragonite V with the Sky Seal Stone, you're taking 3 prizes. The Drapion V plus the Sky Seal Stone on a Mew takes out 4. So that was kind of their way to close out games. The list is pretty stock standard. Azul opting to play a copy of Boss's Orders at this event. The energy count makes a lot of sense with only 2 lightnings. You're only needing it for Zeraora and Dragonite, so you only ever need 1 lightning for the game because you can rod them back or recycler them back. So a very cool deck from Azul, and congratulations to him for winning the event. In second place, we had Reagan Ratzloff playing Lugia V-Star. A very similar list to the list that he used to top 8 the Orlando Regional Championships the week prior. This is also part of my testing group. The most notable change is there was no Dunsparce in favor of a Bird Keeper to deal with control, as well as paralysis-style decks, which is something that a lot of people did end up playing this weekend. There was a lot of Palkia Articuno, as well as a lot of control decks that did make their way into the tournament, but were stifled by the Lugias playing these cards that deal with it. I think Bird Keeper will become a staple in these kinds of decks. However, I don't know if all the tech options that were played here will become more staple compared to something like an Irida, etc., etc. You see the Speed Lightning here in Reagan's list, as well as the V-Guard Energy, making the mirror matchup a little bit better for them, as well as a lot of the other tech cards that are typically in here. 3 Research, 3 Marnie is the most interesting thing, I think, compared to a lot of other lists, which play 4 Research, 2 Marnie, or something like that. In third place, we had Owen Cameron playing Mew VMAX with the Aerodactyl technology that Xander Perot put onto the map a couple months ago. Owen opting not to play the Manaphy, but playing 3 copies of Judge, as well as a copy of Roxanne, to consistently disrupt your opponent with 2 Paths to the Peaks, putting themselves in a good position to kind of, capitalize on a lot of those misses. 2 Rotom Phones as well to dig a little bit deeper with Vacuums. Ropes, 2 Rope, 1 Switch. No cross switches, most notably, which is something that the technology build does not have. People like to call the technology because Aerodactyl is like secret technology, I guess. I don't know. I don't really get it. People like to be funny with names. But the list is very consistent across the board. If you look at it, there's a lot of 4-ofs, a lot of really good cards in here with the 2 Lost Cities as well, putting Owen in a very favorable position in the top 4. The other top 4 final participant was me, yours truly, Rahul, Reddy. I played Regigigas. I have a whole breakdown on my deck and everything up here. You can check it out. I will not bother with you guys with the details, but basically Reggie's is a very good deck. A lot of the last couple tech cards kind of can get flexed around based on the metagame you expect. I didn't expect too much Mew, so I went with only 2 Gigas at this tournament, opting to play the 4th Path to the Peak, giving myself more chances to brick other decks because Path plus Marnie is an incredible combo in the early game. Energy Lotto being the card that was the standout card for me this weekend, in place of the 3rd Shoes to dig a little bit deeper, find those Auroras and stuff of that nature. In 5th, we had, I believe it was Roz Volpe playing Lugia as well. Notably, again, in Roz's list, there was no Dunsparce, the 3 Research, 3 Marnie as well in Roz's list. 3 Boss's Orders, no Serena, which is a little bit interesting. So Roz opting that he doesn't need that draw, but opting to just boss things that could be a problem in matchups like Lost Box. The Irida giving him access to his 1-of Rope, which kind of serves as a way to get out of these paralysis and control style matchups. Playing a very similar energy split to Reagan here, but with only 1 Vacuum, but keeping everything else pretty much the same. In 6th place, we had Pedro Eugenio Torres playing another version of a Lost Box, using the Zamazenta this time in the place of Zeraora like Azul did, and playing Raikou in place of the Dragonite. to also deal with those matchups. Also having the Sky Seal Stone to take that extra prize card where they could. Playing one copy of Raihan and one copy of Roxanne to just kind of disrupt your opponent, as well as set up the board that you want to. Only one Sableye, which is really interesting in my opinion, because I don't think anyone ever expects only one Sableye in Lost Box, so Pedro must have gotten away with that throughout the entire tournament. I never would have expected it. No copies of Recycler in this build. Only rods, because I guess there's no real heavy attackers besides the Zam and the Snorlax. So a very greedy build of Lost Box, but one that put Pedro into the top 8, rightfully so. And then we saw ourselves seeing Yerco Valencia at 7th, playing a very similar build to the list we've seen so far. Once again, no Dunsparce. I think this is every build of Lugia so far we've seen has not had Dunsparce. A very stock standard build here, opting not to play the Speed Energy, but a 4th Capture, Irida for the Rope or Vacuum, giving themselves a way to find those pieces more easily. The 2 Boss 1 Serena. It looks like everyone played 3 Money, 3 Research, which is pretty cool to see. 3-3 Lugia as opposed to the 3-2 Lugias we've seen so far. The lists so far make a lot of sense. Yeah. And finally, we had Grant Shen with his Lugia list, also opting to play a 3-3 Lugia V-Star line, playing only 2 Money but 3 Research here, playing the Bird Keeper as well to have more additional draw. Only 1 Vacuum, but no way to find it like an Irida like the other list had. But Grant is playing a copy of Dunsparce to make sure that he doesn't get bodied by any of these Lightning type decks. Grant opting to play a copy of the Wash Energy over the Speed Lightning or any of the other energies. I guess you just put it on Mana Fate and you pretty much win Lost Box if they can't, boss it up. Or you can put it on Illuminion, I guess, at some point. But Wash Energy is like, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does, I guess, make sense to some degree. But that is your top 8 of the Melbourne International Championships. Again, if you guys enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. And I did get top 4, which is awesome. So I'm going to be on Cloud9 for a little bit. But thank you guys so much for everything. Peace out. Have a good one.